Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or hello if you're new. In today's video I'm going to be running through, is the Dyson Airwrap worth it? I think this is the question I've had most since I've picked this up and I've shared that I've tried it with you. People are asking, is it worth the money? So I wanted to break down what type of person this will be best for, run you through the attachments, how often I would personally use them, how I have concluded my thoughts over the month that I've had it to try it out, and whether or not I'll be keeping hold of the device. So if this sounds like your kind of video and you're as intrigued, and I really think this is a video if you're contemplating getting the Airwrap, then please do watch to the end to understand my opinion and just to help understand what you might be going into. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. The first thing I wanted to start on is money, because this is the most expensive hair tool that I know I have ever purchased, and it's probably the same for everyone else that is debating it. This is a lot of money. The reason it can be classed as good value, with the complete long version you get 8 different attachments, which is ultimately 6 different heads to the Dyson, because you get 2 different curlers for each side of the hair. So let's see it as 6 different attachments. You have 2 curlers, 2 heated brushes, the round brush, and you get the hairdryer attachment as well. If you broke it down that way, and if you have in your collection at the moment a heated hot brush, if you have a heated hot roller, if you have a hairdryer that is more on the expensive side, say something like GHD or Cloud9, you have various different curlers, perhaps again from GHD, or just generally the more expensive area of the market, then this is Dyson's versions of each of those things. So you could streamline your collection into essentially a box full of products where you only need one body in terms of the Dyson body, and then you can put the different attachments on top. If you are someone that has that type of collection that you use all the time, this is a definite worthwhile investment, because you could essentially strip everything else and have everything in one device, which makes life so much simple, right? And you also get the technology of the Dyson included, that lower heat, so it's less damage on your hair. So for that reason, if you're thinking about getting it and you're debating various different hair products, this is a worthwhile investment, because yes, it's a lot of money, but you get essentially 6 products in one. So I think that it's good value if that's the right thing for you. Where I don't think it's good value is if you are looking for just the curling attachments for the Dyson and you're not thinking that you're going to use much else from it. I think most people will use the hairdryer attachment, which for me, I'm going to break down each attachment separately. But if you are planning on just using the curling attachments because they're pretty cool, you've seen them on TikTok, and that's what's really drawn you in, 100% guilty for me too, then this is a lot of money for just a curling product. So definitely debate, even if you waited until they had more stock, you can customize your order a little bit more, and you don't have to get the complete set just to get the curling attachments. Now, I don't think you're going to save tons of money if you don't get everything, because I think each, like 2 of these are around £30, but you could definitely save a little bit of money. And so if you are just interested in the curling products, you're not ever going to use the round brush or anything like that, then I think it's worth waiting just so you can customize it a little bit more. It's going to save you enough money to probably justify the price a little bit easier. However, if you are going to use all of these attachments like I've said, then this is again a very worthwhile product to have. I think as well, in terms of monetary value, before we get into like using it and how often you use it and things like that, this is a product that's going to have a 2-year warranty, and if, for example, the body of the Dyson, this here, were to go wrong, you could just repurchase this, and then you could, again, you've still got everything cool going. If you have a huge hair tool collection and that's something you really love doing to your hair, you love doing different styles all the time, this is just such a worthwhile investment. But only the complete set if you're going to use everything. As soon as you realize you're not going to use certain things, then it's definitely worth just considering waiting. Now, the next thing I'm going to say, it kind of links with money, but in terms of how much use you're going to get out of it, and I think that these 2 things are going to work very closely together in terms of helping you either justify picking it up or deciding against it. So for me personally, I definitely won't use this as much as I want to. I have a toddler, and so for me, especially when the world goes back to normal, I work full time, and so for me I need hairstyles that are quick, that are easy, that also won't wake up my child. So a curling iron traditionally doesn't have the hairdryer noise, and so I could get away with using that a little bit easier in the morning without waking her up than using this, because this is obviously has some kind of sound to it that will disturb her. So with that in mind, I would be limited to using it more on weekends. And for me, when I want to do my curls in the weekday, I do my overnight curls. I've done a whole video on that, and that for me is the biggest comparison between that and this, because that's a technique I use honestly all the time. It's heat free, it doesn't hurt my hair and things like that. So again, I think that if you are someone that has a bit of time on your hands for morning, you know, you have the luxury of getting yourself ready, or you don't have other commitments and you can literally spend a bit more time getting ready of a morning for work or whatever it is that you do day to day, then again, this is a worthwhile investment. If you are going to use this daily, and I wish I could, then again, you're going to very easily justify it. Say you use it 6 out of the 7 days or whatever it might be, then when you work out price per day, it's nothing, and it's worth having a really cool contraption to do that. If you shower every day and you hair dry your hair every day after the shower or anything like that, then again, you're going to get so much use out of this, and it's so worth it. And also, if you are currently using hot tools on your hair every day, because this is limited to 150 degrees, this is going to be less damaging on your hair. So again, a worthwhile hair care investment. If that's something that you do day to day and you're looking to make that change, then 100% worth it. Now, the reason I compare this to my overnight curls is because for me, that is something I do all the time, and a technique that when I've been testing the Dyson, I've been doing my overnight curls as well, just to see how do they compare and which do I prefer. And ultimately for me, my overnight curls I literally learned off TikTok. It's my favourite hairstyle and just does not compete to the longevity of the Dyson. So my overnight curls, and it's because they set in place for 8 hours or so, however long I sleep for. I wrap my hair in my dressing gown, put it above my head. In the morning I take my dressing gown belt out, and I have super curly hair that will then last 2 days. My Dyson, no matter what I've tried, I cannot get it to last more than 6 to 8 hours, depending on various factors like the weather or how hot it is or anything like that. So this for me, and I don't know as well whether this is because I have particularly fine hair. I've heard other people say that who have very similar hair texture to me, that the curls just don't last. And traditionally for me, if I use a hot curler, they just don't last the same way as I do my overnight curls anyway. But when I compare the Dyson to the hot tool curlers I use, they are very comparable in terms of longevity, whereas my overnight curls are such a winner. And I'm happy that I've discovered that, because they're so good, nothing can really compete. But no matter what I've tried, both on camera and off camera, I cannot get these Dyson curls to last more than 6 to 8 hours, and that is kind of still in a bit of a COVID world. And so normally I would be at work all day, I'd be in and out of the car, kind of walking to work, picking up my daughter, running around after her, and so my hair really needs something that's durable in terms of holding a curl, and this for me just didn't quite make the cut, no matter what I tried. And I tried every technique I could genuinely find, following all of the instructions to a T that Dyson share, and for me it just has not worked as I wanted it to. I think the reason being is 2 factors. One is because it doesn't go to that maximum heat. My hair benefits from that hotter temperature just to set a curl. I don't have the luxury of pinning my curls every single time I do my hair and I reckon you're going to need to pin your curls for probably 1 to 2 hours at least to get any longevity in the Dyson curls. And for me, that's just not a factor regularly. It's just not something I can do all the time. And so I just don't think that from a curling perspective I would get the use out of this that I would want to get, because I have an alternative that is so much easier and more reliable. And there's nothing worse than when you have to get ready for the day and you're trying to do a hairstyle, it's not working and you have to give up. And for me, the Dyson just hasn't quite made that cut no matter what I've tried. Now, I definitely out of the two preferred the 30mm option, and it might be that because they've recently released 20mm barrels, that as soon as I can get a set that's just curling, though with the 20mm barrels, I might retry it and see if it kind of changes the game, because when I do my overnight curls, they're a lot of a tighter curl, and then throughout the day they loosen to then match what the Dyson look like after 6 hours. That's kind of my day 2 curls with that method, and so it just can't compete. And so for me, there is no point kind of keeping hold of a product that isn't performing as well as a technique I already use and love. So that's, especially for this price point, for me it's just kind of not worth it from a curling perspective. When I look at the brush heads, now I did a video comparing the two, showing you how they work. I definitely preferred the soft brush head attachment more so than the firm one. The firm one for me just didn't quite make the cut, but that's because this one is specifically designed for fine hair like mine, and I really liked the effect of the straightening it did, because it was that kind of like blow dry, stepped out of a hairdresser's kind of volume look. And so I would probably get some use out of this, again not very regularly, but if I wanted to just like smoothen out my hair, or I'm on like day 2 straight hair, so today for example, I could probably run through with this and just get a bit more shine in my hair. So this is something that I could potentially pick up quite often, but I know this one I definitely won't if I know this one's more of a preference. So again, this one is a bit of an abandoned attachment for me personally. And then we get to the 2 final attachments. So this is the round brush head one, and this for me is one that I haven't actually used because I don't have like bangs or anything. The only way that I would necessarily use this is to get that flick at the end of my hair, and I can achieve that with the soft brush head. So again, this is an attachment that personally for me I wouldn't use. However, if you have like curtain bangs or you have bangs in general, then you could potentially get so much use out of this. And again, if you can justify using every attachment, then it's a worthwhile device, but for me this just isn't one that I would personally use. But then I get onto the hairdryer, and this is probably the one that I'm most sad to see go, because this is a blinding hairdryer. I know it's called a pre-styler dryer, but for me I would use it in place of my hairdryer that I have, and I definitely preferred this in terms of the power. The one I have at the moment, granted, is only a Tony & Guy one that didn't cost the earth, but this is such a strong hairdryer and dried my hair, which is obviously relatively long, in about 5 to 10 minutes, which is pretty unheard of. Most of the time it takes me like 15 to 20 or even 20 to 25 minutes to dry my hair, and within that time I just try to avoid drying my hair as much as possible, because I really try to avoid heat as much as possible. But this is for me the best kind of tool that I discovered within this, because this is so powerful. And again, as I mentioned, if you are someone that washes and dries your hair every day and you style it every day, then this is something that is probably going to become second nature, and you will love this. I think especially as this is 80% as powerful as their hairdryer that you can buy individually, this is a great deal, because if you know you're going to get so much use out of this and everything else, then you're essentially getting a 2-in-1 product, which I think is absolutely brilliant value for money if you're prepared to spend that much on hot tools. I also think that if you are someone that when hairdressers are open you regularly get blow dries or blowouts, and you are someone that loves that kind of pamper, this is again a foolproof way of having that experience at home. Granted, it's probably not as relaxing because you have to do it yourself. The results are comparable to whenever I've gone to a hairdresser's and they've done my hair, and the curls, if they lasted here, it would be a no-brainer. I would keep hold of this because they are unlike anything that I can achieve at home in terms of the volume and how just gorgeous they look. For me, it's just the fact that they don't last. It's like there's no point having a hair tool in my collection that isn't reliable. But if you are someone that likes that blowout look and you're prepared to do that every single morning, and you know that you love just like big volume hair, this is the tool to do that for sure, because it uses that air technology to actually create the bounce. It's much more foolproof than what you can achieve with another hair tool, especially as it's easier. If, for example, you use like a round brush often, this is easier than actually having a hairdryer and a round brush and trying to do a blowout yourself. So this is definitely a more simplistic version of achieving really advanced results, as long as you are prepared to use it as often as possible. So with that all said and done, I have definitely decided that the Dyson Airwrap is what I'm gonna have to return, and it breaks my heart because I genuinely wanted to love this so much more than anything else. It's something that I have been eyeing up for so long, and when I was able to get it I was just so excited. But the curls for me just don't last, and that's definitely the attachment that I'm going to use the most if it was reliable. So I am in the process of basically letting Dyson know to come and collect the Airwrap, and it's one that I personally don't think is worth the money for me, because it's not something that I would use regularly enough, and when I would use it I know that the curls just aren't durable enough to just go alongside my lifestyle. And I think that this is just a message I want to get out to everyone, is that these tools look really cool on TikTok, and trust me, I fell victim to it and I really wanted to try it. The good thing, if you order them from the Dyson website, if I know they've been in and out of stock all the time, it might be easier said than done, but the Dyson website gives you a 30-day window to try it, and please make the most of that. Please order it and try it and just check it's the tool for you, because it's a lot of money, and I think that it's quite irresponsible of some people to say you need it unless you fall into specific categories, because it's a lot of money. I think that some people, especially those that are gifted this, forget that £450 is really a lot of money to some people. And so for me, if you are definitely like debating it and you really want to try it and you're not sure if you're going to love it but you've had it on your mind for so long, try and order it from the Dyson website and use that 30-day window like I have to decide whether it's for you or not. And definitely don't feel pressured to love a product just because you know everyone else loves it. I've seen so many influencers and people on TikTok that are saying this is the best tool, and whilst I agree, if you can find a way that it works, or if it works for your hair texture, if it worked for mine I would love it, and I'd be filming here saying you need to try it because it's amazing. But unfortunately for me, my hair is long but very fine, and my hair just does not hold a curl with it no matter what I've tried, and I've tried so many different techniques. And so for me, I am having to send this guy back, which is absolutely gutting, but I feel like it's quite nice to be honest, because there are so many people that say like you need it, and any reviews I've seen have been way too positive or just way too negative. But I think if you fall into particular categories, this is going to be an amazing product for you. But just make sure that you kind of review where it would take place in your everyday life, because it is a lot of money to collect dust. I'm absolutely gutted that I aren't able to like keep hold of it, and I'm not able to love it as much as I really wanted to, because it's just a product that I have just seen all over everywhere, and the curls I achieved are so good. So I've got those videos as well. If you are watching this and you're thinking, oh I'm not sure, definitely check back on my other videos so you can see my unboxing, my first time using it, as well as the brush head attachment comparison, as well as me trying different techniques to try and get the curls to last. And then I've tried it ever since then off camera just to find a way for it to work for me. It just hasn't been as reliable as products that I already use day to day. The thing with this as well is that because I use my heatless curls, which I know I go on about all the time, but for me they are genuinely life-changing. They use no heat. Even though the Dyson is a very low temperature product, it's still going to cause a degree of heat damage because it uses hot air, whereas my heatless curls just are going to help my hair grow. And for me, I've been on such a hair care journey, getting my hair to grow really long, that the last thing I want to do is really like force myself to use a heat product every single day when I know I could achieve something very similar with heatless curls. So that is my verdict. And for me, is it worth the money? Not for me personally, because it's just not something I am able to use, because it just doesn't work on my hair type. But please do kind of consider your hair type and how often you would use it before you pick it up, because it is pricey, and I know that it'd be really disappointing for anyone picking it up believing it's like the best thing and it not being quite as what you expected. That's all from me in today's video. Please do leave any comments or questions that you have down below. I'm honestly happy to answer anything, and I'll be more than happy to help anyone that's debating getting the Airwrap. I would love to talk to you, and I genuinely know your position because I was that person really wanting to try it, and now I'm on the other side of that. And after having tested it, I've kind of concluded that it just isn't quite right for me. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. If it has helped you, I would really appreciate it if you click that thumbs up button. It really helps my videos reach more people. And if you haven't already, please do consider subscribing. Again, it just means ever so much, and it means I can continue making videos similar to this, sharing hair care recommendations. That's all from me today, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!